NTT Facilities, Yusa, and Vigilent, Dave Hudson. Gentlemen. Hi, Tak.
You sit over here, right? Let's sit here.
So I believe we kick it off with a presentation from NTT Facilities, and then you'll hand it off.
Right.
So your slides are up.
Yep.
Okay, good morning. I'm Yusa from NTT Facilities. Actually, I met the CTO of Vigilent in September 2009. And at that time, actually, I had no idea that in 7 years later, so I get the chance to talk about our success with Vigilent at the event. Yeah, thank you very much for giving us these great opportunities. And first of all, NTT is a Japanese telecommunication company, and 10% of its revenues comes from non-communication business. So, for example, the real estate, finance, and construction, and so on. So we, NTT Facilities, is working in the other business areas and responsible for building and energy facilities business. And originally, NTT Facilities was the building and power department of NTT. And in 1992, we were spun off from NTT to expand our business to non-NTT group companies. And until now, so NTT Facilities has been one of the biggest engineering firms in Japan. And as a one-stop facility service providers, we have been able to offer the integrated facility services from planning, design, procurement, construction, and maintenance and facility management. So on the other hand, so offering the best facilities like reliable and efficient cooling and power facilities to NTT's data centers and the central offices is still one of our most important missions. Therefore, so we are always looking globally for the kind of a best product. So to best product means the kind of efficient and the reliable powers and the cooling product to meet our mission. Yeah. So as you can easily imagine, just implementing the best product itself to data centers and central offices will not achieve our expected performance. So actually bringing out the performance of the product always requires the good operations for them. But however, in reality, it was really difficult or tough to optimize the facilities properly, actually, because of the NTT's scale of facilities. So that's why NTT Facilities needed to find the kind of a smart software to optimize such a product, best product, actually automatically and 24/7, so without human effort. So, and then actually Vigilent, we met in 2009. So Vigilent was for us the kind of a best partners to achieve our mission because of their AI engine and industrial IoT technologies for cooling the system. So yeah, Dave-san, could you explain your?
Sure. You want to go ahead?
Yep.
So my name is Dave Hudson. I'm the CEO of Vigilent. I'm going to give you just a quick overview of what it is we do. So at a high level, Vigilent optimizes the cooling and energy consumption in data centers and telecom exchanges. So we have a system that uses machine learning software, sensors, and analytics to do that. And let me describe a little more exactly what we do. So we will go into a data center and install sensors, typically every third rack, top and bottom. These all communicate wirelessly back to our server where our software resides. We also instrument all of the cooling equipment in the facility. So we put control kits on so we can turn the units on or off or up or down. We measure the supply and return air temperature as well as the power consumption of the cooling units. And all of this communicates back as well to our software. Essentially what our software does is when you turn it on, it goes around the room and it actually turns off and then back on every single cooling unit to understand the influence of each unit on every point in the data center floor. And then essentially what it does is solve a math problem. And that math problem is, how do I deliver exactly the right amount of cooling to every point on the data center floor for the least amount of electricity? And so software takes control actions, and typically within a couple of hours of turning it on, our customers see, on average, over 400 installations globally, about 40% energy reduction. So that's a very nice headline-grabbing number. The other thing the software does is there's a learning component to it. So as things change, so as IT load is moved in or taken out, as the cooling equipment degrades over time, which it all does, as other things change within the facility, airflow, or weather, whatnot, the software will learn that and automatically re-optimize. So as Yusa-san said, one of the things that's very powerful about what we do is it doesn't require any human intervention, no fine tuning. You just turn it on and it runs. So because of the success we've had in the marketplace and some of our momentum, we've gotten a lot of attention lately, which is great. We won a recent award from Total Telecom for the best turnkey IoT solution, and we're in consideration for a couple of other awards now. But candidly, we would not have had this success if we didn't have a really strong partner like NTT Facilities. So,
thank you. So, working closely with Vigilent and also improving the technology step by step together. As of 2015, so we have deployed Vigilent system to actually more than 5,000 cooling unit, mainly in Japan. So distributing more than 20,000 sensors. And we have cut the annual cooling energy cost by 32% on average. So mainly in Japan, and which means the $15 million US cost savings every year. So, so I believe the success with Vigilent will continue because our strong track record is increasing market perceptions of Vigilent system in Asian Pacific. Of course, the US, maybe Europe. Furthermore, so now we are working with our other partners who are the cooling unit manufacturers in Germany and Sweden, so to standardize the interface between Vigilent system and also their state-of-the-art cooling unit for the deep integration between the product and the smart software, so that we can bring out the performance of those best products at the maximum. So that's all from me. Any other comment?
I'll come on up and guide a discussion. As always, people are welcome to join in the conversation from the two microphones in the aisles, but I'm also happy to have a conversation with you guys. This stuff strikes me in two ways. One, boring. You can see the consumers out there, the press and the mass market going, this is not the kind of thing we want to hear. But on the other hand, these charts speak for themselves. So you probably find data centers pretty exciting, right?
we do, yes, sadly we do, yeah.
And this is also, a hot topic is IoT. Of course, everybody wants to talk about the fridge, connected fridge, but really this is IoT in action, right?
It is, yeah, indeed.
And so you deploy, in this case, you're not deploying cooling units, you're deploying sensors, right?
Sensors and software.
Sensors and software. And do you do this as a service that's cloud-based where Vigilent is kind of running the service, or is it something where you pass it all over and NTT Facilities is running it?
I mean, in the case of NTT Facilities, it's mostly premise-based, so the software sits in the facility, but we also have deployments with other customers where we're running the software in the cloud.
Right. Is it by size, or is it just whatever the customer prefers? It's generally the larger ones do it themselves, or is it preference-based?
Actually, honestly, it's a little more around the customer's sensitivity to having everything in their network versus being open to having something run on the public cloud.
Right. So I'm also interested, so this is something that applies specifically, obviously, to data centers, which, run across telcos, but also into a lot of different independent companies and non-telco people that operate data centers. Is Vigilance business all across that full range of people running data centers, or you have a strength coming out of one area?
It is across both of those segments, but we see the telco opportunity being particularly interesting because they have so many facilities. So in addition to data centers, they've got all these telecom exchanges that are undergoing all this change right now, as you know. It's everything's getting shifted, basically converted into edge data centers.
Right.
And it's just a big opportunity for both of us, actually.
It's true, they're pushing, so even like central offices are more and more getting servers installed in them to do additional tasks, media tasks, and things like that.
Exactly.
They're saying that even a CO is a potential place where you could put these in and have better knowledge. And Vigilance is essentially working on the concept of you can't manage something until you measure it, right?
Correct.
And you can extract pretty impressive savings. So flipping it over to talk about NTT Facilities a bit, I think the first thing we'd want to clear up is NTT is such an enormous company that I think I'm not sure everybody understands the different divisions and the one that TAC that you represent. So could you is it possible to explain what NTT Facilities does and where your borders stop and other entities are active?
So normally, mainly in Japan, so NTT Facilities design the construct data centers, the central offices for NTT group companies.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's focused on that aspect.
Yeah.
And that makes, so I think that makes sense to everybody. You're not talking about dial tone and ringback apps. You're specifically talking about hosting large data centers. Is NTT your only client, or do you, in your data centers, is it multi-tenant?
No. So yeah, originally, so our main customer was NTT, so like around maybe 2012 or 13. But now, so our business, so with Vigilent is expanding so to the non-NTT group customers, and not only in Japan but also the Hong Kong, Singapore, and China, so Asian countries.
Do you operate data centers in those locations, or host them in Japan to those locations?
So so. Yeah, some cases, yeah.
Yep.
So NTT, of course, have own data centers. But so actually, NTT Facilities is kind of an engineering firm, so we are not data center vendor. So that's why. So we just offer our engineering services and the product with Vigilent to that group companies. Yeah.
Great. So Vigilent Solution lets you measure the precise temperatures, and then the cool thing was, we said, what you start doing is turning off cooling elements to see how it affects it, and that's just you can, I guess, do a regression analysis on what each specific cooling element actually impacts, right?
Correct.
And then, I mean, how precise can that be? Because if you want to geek out on it, it seems, okay, we turned down this one fan, it had this impact on this area, then we turned it back up, then we turned on this other fan, it had an impact on this area. Good, we think we know that. But what happens if you turn them down together, it creates a different pattern, right?
Well, and this is like, humans can't really solve that problem. You need software to do it, honestly, data and software. And so you just throw computing power at it, and it figures it out.
What you're saying is your software just messes with it every way possible.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Actually,
We just had the Qualcomm guys talking about measuring networks with drones, and you measure it along every axis possible to measure the network, and you get more information, right?
Yep.
yeah. So actually, the AI engines just see the data and make decision making based on the logical thinking. That's why sometimes, so for example, the temperatures around here is getting hotter, and then so normally we want to turn on the aircon so around here, right? But sometimes the AI engine turning off that aircon very close to the hot spot. But I don't know why, but that hot spot will be eliminated. So actually, that kind of a decision making cannot be done by the human.
Right.
So that is the power of an AI engine. Yeah.
So to manage a hotspot, the human would do the obvious thing, click on more cooling, and your software has messed with it sufficiently before to go, you might just be able to kind of shift in the same way because as network operators, most of the people in the room can conceive of the notion of shifting coverage by tilting antennas. You can kind of shift cooling. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly.
Really? All right, that's pretty cool. And then I imagine you also have all of the kind of urgency, cooling emergency, because since you have the sensors in there, standard escalations and things
Alarms and everything else, yeah, of
and
course.
that's not new, right? That's always
No, that's not the magic part of what.
Does Vigilent come out of that field? Like originally we were just alarms, too hot, sound the alarm, and you built knowledge on top, or did you kind of enter this as an IoT or AI company?
AI, yeah. So the founder is, Cliff Fetterspiel is a PhD from MIT. This has kind of been his life's work, is focusing on using software to solve complex control problems. So, yeah.
So taking that general common software to solve complex control problems, not that you've yet exhausted the data center market, but what other ways do you see you could apply this technology?
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is, and we're working with NTT on it right now, is just we collect all this data, and it actually provides a bunch of other interesting insights into what's going on in a facility.
Yeah.
In terms of, we often see cooling units that are about to fail. They're sitting there running, they're making noise, but we have data from those units, so we know they're teetering on the point of failure, and we can highlight those. We can also highlight where customers actually can add IT capacity without adding any cooling. They're normally, when they say, I got to put more IT in, I got to add more cooling, and we can say, look, you don't actually have to spend that CapEx. We have the data to prove it. So.
Or identify the best slots, put it here, and you won't have to cool anymore.
Yeah.
That's also pretty cool. So predicting failure, and also where to deploy additional compute power to save money,
right,
or reduce costs. Very good. So, what's next for NTT Facilities? What are the other hot technologies you guys are looking at? This is pretty neat. Internet of Things. Anything else that you're looking at?
So actually, we are not IT companies actually. So that's why. So the areas we are focusing on are little bit different from the maybe areas of these participants want to know. But so we are still focusing on the kind of a best product for the cooling.
Yes.
So we try to manage that best cooling product by Vigilent system. So
partnerships, great. So you can improve the way the data center works through some partnerships like with Vigilent, and you also are you build software and knowledge and technologies yourselves, right?
So depending on the areas,
So you're willing to build and look to partnerships. Now we have one question, so we can wrap it up with that, and then we'll finish.
Quick question. So how did Vigilent first come into contact with NTT, and what was that process? How long did it take before you guys got a PO?
Yeah, so this predates me a little bit, and Yusa-san mentioned that he first met our founder in 2009. So that gives you some kind of indication of how long it took. So it was first meeting in 2009, agreement in 2010, first deployment in 2011, and then you saw the chart there from there. So, one of the things that is critical in these kind of relationships is as a startup, is to have the patience for that, because there's only so much you can do as a small company to, change the timelines of a big telco.
When was Vigilent founded?
2008.
2008, and so you started a relationship shortly thereafter.
Yep.
When was a deal finally inked?
Yeah, in 2010.
2010.
Yeah.
So, and then you've been in deployment ever since?
Yep.
Was it kind of first, we want to do a pilot project and see how you work? Is that what you started?
Yeah, so that was very good. So that's why, actually, before the official agreement, so we did the first installation in the US, and then that was nice. So that's why, we are considering to expand this business to Japan. And then, but before installing this system to in Japanese kind of a central offices and data centers, so actually headquarters requested me to kind of verify the products, taking actually almost 1 year.
Yes.
So that took a lot of time. But so after the pilot project in Japan, that was also success. So, and then unfortunately just after that, actually big earthquake and tsunami hit Japan, and after that, so not good, but good for our business. Electricity rate was getting actually expensive and expensive.
Yes.
So around Tokyo. So then NTT also needed to cut the cost, so electricity cost. That's why. So timing was also
Was that, how did it relate to the tsunami? What year was the tsunami? What year was the tsunami? It shut down the nuclear power plant?
Tsunami was 2011.
11, yeah.
So after
March.
11, did electricity costs
Yeah,
rise as a
yes.
result?
Way up.
Okay, so you were already, it was,
Yeah, it
so,
was, yeah,
you
it was,
don't wanna
yeah,
benefit
unfortunate
from
for the
this, but-
tsunami, but it helped push the.
so you were already improving yourselves in tests at that point.
Yeah.
So as electricity costs went up, you're able to say, good, we were in a nice spot to have proven our worth.
Yes.
And that seemed like a normal process for you to go through the pilot project, then testing, and then on to a wider deployment.
Yes.
Is it something you think you're going to have to do over and over now, or are you able to use early case studies like NTT?
It shortens the process, but still, anybody who's putting something in their technical facilities, in their mission critical facilities,
Yep.
even if you said, I've done it with 10 other big customers that are just like you, they're like, I want to see it myself.
Yep. So lessons are it's great, get in there, do your pilot project, and be really lucky with the timing. But even if you weren't, you guys were saving money, right?
Absolutely,
Awesome.
yeah.
All right, good. Well, I think, we're good on the mics. So with that, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.